In cities across the United States, tension is rising as they debate over immigration enforcement, and public safety reaches a boiling point. National Guard troops have been deployed, lawsuits filed, and fierce protests erupted, raising urgent questions about law, order, and democracy itself. Today, we dive deep into the latest developments involving the Trump administration's controversial deployment of National Guard troops in Illinois and Oregon, the lawsuits challenging that action, and the heated rhetoric framing this national controversy. Illinois and the city of Chicago have filed lawsuits against the Trump administration, challenging the deployment of federal National Guard troops for immigration enforcement and public order. Critics argue the deployment violates court restrictions and escalates tensions at a time when cities are already on edge. But the administration maintains it must act, citing federal law, specifically Title 10 of the U.S. Code, which empowers the president to federalize the National Guard when necessary to protect public safety. In Portland, federal officials say immigration enforcement officers have faced over 100 nights of assaults and threats, making their work perilous and forcing the need for military support. Yet, local officials and judges dispute this account, painting a picture far from a war zone or open rebellion. The White House claims that immigration officers have endured terrorism-level attacks, including sniper attempts and doxing, while the opposition likens such claims to hyperbole designed to justify militarized policing. Local authorities in Chicago and Portland argue their police forces have handled protests and unrest without escalating to extreme violence or chaos. Arrest data shows dozens detained, but no citywide destruction or burnings. At the heart of this dispute, are these political protests legitimate expressions of dissent, or do they constitute violent insurgencies undermining federal law? Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller framed the enforcement campaign as part of fulfilling the 2024 GOP platform, halting illegal immigration and deporting unlawful residents on an unprecedented scale. He contends that the protests are orchestrated campaigns of violence, targeting federal officers, linking them to domestic terrorism, insurrection, and coordinated attacks fueled by common funding sources. However, local leaders accuse the administration of racial profiling and scapegoating communities of color, arguing that these immigration policies unfairly target immigrants and create dangerous divides. Miller pushes back forcefully, stating that illegal immigration harms American workers of all backgrounds, and that sanctuary policies in cities like Chicago shield criminals, harming public safety. Legal battles rage on, with courts imposing limits on troop deployments while the administration explores alternative federal resources. Concerns are also mounting about the precedent this sets. Could future presidents deploy federal troops to quell protests in politically opposed states? What does this mean for democracy when peaceful demonstrations can be labeled terrorism and met with military force? This clash isn't just a political power play. It impacts families, officers, and communities caught in the crossfire. Federal officers face threats and violence. Local officials struggle to balance law enforcement with civil rights. And citizens grapple with divided visions of America. As the lawsuit unfolds and political rhetoric intensifies, the nation watches, seeking answers on how to balance security, justice, and freedom in challenging times. What happens next? Will the federal government back down or double down on its hardline policies? How will American cities navigate these turbulent waters of law enforcement, immigration, and protest? One thing is certain: this debate is far from over. Stay tuned for more updates on this evolving story. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for your front row seat to the most important geopolitical and political news shaping America today.